Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday. This is Sandy from Doux Designs. How are you tonight? All right, so tonight we're going to do some basketball. I'd like to say I was really going to shoot some hoops, but you know that's not going to happen. Hi, Liz. All right, so we are going to use the new sports season paper pack, and we're going to build a scene. Hi, Ellen. We're going to build a scene, and we're going to Copic color the kangaroo with the basketball. And then I'll probably use some sentiments on the card as well. But we're not going to do a regular card. We're going to put a little twist on it. So I'll show you all of that when we get to it. But for now, we're going to start off with coloring this cutie patootie. And I already have my marker colors pulled out because I know what color I want him to be based on the background. So the background paper that I'm going to use looks like, oh, I don't have an extra one. I used them all. Well, I am going to use this. And then I'm also going to use the basketball court one. I've cut it all up already. Yeah, I'm out of them. It's my last sheet, so we can't make any mistakes. We gotta do everything right tonight. But that's okay. We got this. All right, so based on the background paper, there was, this is a piece of it, but there's a bluish color, and there is like some gold colors. And then since we're using that solid orange background as well, I didn't want to go with the red because I thought it might clash a little. So we're going to go with blue and gold for his outfit. And then we are going to color him in some of the E colors from Copic. So E39, 37, 35, 33. And if we need it, we'll use 31. But I don't think we're going to need it. But just in case. And then we're going to do R11 in the ears as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the ears real quick and get that part in there. Just because I want to get his ears started out. So that, now you can see it. So we're going to start off with that, and we're also going to put it in the tongue, just like that. And so we only need that R11 for just a brief moment, not too much to do. Who's getting ready for the weekend? One more day. Tomorrow is Friday. Friday. Okay, E39 is what I'm going to start with. It's the darkest color. And I'm going to just put a few little brush strokes right here where the tuft of hair is on the top of his head. It'll just give it a little bit of looking like hair. And then on the ears, I'm going to put this in there and then around the bottom edge like that, and then up just a little bit right here. We're not going to touch the inside of the ears yet because we don't really need to. We're going to do that with a much lighter color. And then because he has a headband on, I'm going to do just a little bit up underneath this headband. Not too much, but just a little bit. And maybe right over here in this little corner too. And then going to do his neck. And I'm going to do underneath this chin just a little bit. And then I'm going to do this shoulder. And the armpit, of course, the underside of his arm. And we're going to do kind of the same thing on this side, the shoulder first, and then up under his arm. And I think, hi Janine, I think we should put a little bit on his fingers since they're all pointing down and he's holding the basketball. He's got some good glue fingers going on there. So just like this. And then we're going to start working on the legs, feet, and tail. But before I go any further, I think I would like to add just a little bit of this R11 to the bottom of his foot. Thank you, honey. To the bottom of his foot. Just like this. Did he leave already? Oh, okay. Just so we have a little bit of that pink on the underside of his foot. You can't see the underside of this one, so we don't need any there. Hey, Beth. Welcome, welcome. And then E39, we're going to do up underneath his shirt. And then I'm going to go just a little bit down the back of his leg. I'm going to flip him upside down so you guys can see what I'm doing, but I'm going to do a little bit here. I'm going to do more under his shirt. Then we're going to do this side of the leg over here. And right along the bottom of his foot. Just along the bottom. And maybe right here because that's kind of overlapping as well. Same thing here. And then we'll just do a little bit up from his toes. Just not too much, but just a little bit. Now we also have to do his tail. We don't want to forget his tail. So we're going to start at the bottom, and I'm going to go up a little ways. About like that. And then I'm going to make it skinnier and shorter, but I am going to go all the way up to his shirt. Just like that. There we go. So that is the first color. I chose 4 colors for this group. So 37 is next. It's still pretty dark, so I probably won't use a whole lot until I get to 35. But I'm going to go ahead, go around the inside of the ear. And then a little bit on this side. I'm going to put a few more of these little brush strokes for that tuft of hair right there. And then I'm also going to start building these ones over here. I want to give them just a little bit of fuzzy going off on the side and this side. And there we go, a little bit under his chin. I think I'm going to put a teeny bit under his nose, just so that stays like pretty clear, and maybe along this side of his cheek because they'll be casting a shadow from his little face. So cute. Hi, Barbara. And then I'm going to build a little bit further down his arm, but not too far because this is still a pretty dark color. And then I'm going to turn him around, and I'm going to do the other arm. And since I did a little bit more than I thought I was going to do on the bottom of his body, I'll have to go back and do a little bit more on his face too, so he matches. We don't want him to have a really dark body and a really light face, because then he'll look kind of funny. And he needs a little bit on these toes because they're kind of under the basketball, so there would be some shadow there as well. And then the top side of this little part of his foot that's pink, I'm just going to put a little line above there. Oh, I'm so glad you like the kangaroo. Hi, Tamara. I love him, but we did the kangaroo because of that was my mascot in school. It's so cool when you do the artwork because then you get to choose like which animals, and it almost always reflects something about your life because it's you and you're doing it. So there's almost always some kind of thought process behind it, but we were the kangaroos. And I thought that was cool, but now for some reason, since I haven't said it in a really long time, it just feels weird to say. All right, we're going to go a little bit further on the tail. And then we're going to swipe it all the way up on the bottom side to the tip of his tail. And then we need to put some in his face because we have more in the body than we do in the face. So I think what I'm going to do is start on this edge right here. And then I'm going to extend a little further than where I put those original brush lines. And then I'm going to go up underneath his little sweat thing. And I'm going to put a teeny bit under the eye. Just like that. It'll give me a little bit of that dark to mix in. And next, I'm going to move on to my E35. And my E35 is going to be like the true color of him. The last one will just be for highlights. So I'm going to start filling in, softening some edges and stuff. Are we done?
Yep.
Yay! And then down this side, I'm going to go in the ear just a little bit on the side where I didn't put the color. There we go. And then I'm going to come down from the headband to his eye. I'm going to go back and soften up that line just a little bit. And then I'm going to put a little bit behind his nose and kind of go up there. I'm going to come a little bit down from his cheek. And then up from the side of his head. I think I'll just go all the way around the eye for now. This side's hidden and it's in shadow, so I'm just going to fill in that with this color. Then we're going to do the neck. We're going to add some here. Just follow that pattern that we have going. I'm going to put right up by his face and a little bit under here. I'm going to save the rest of his face for my last color to blend together. Hey, Evelyn. And then I'm going to start on his arms. So we're just going to be leaving a highlight. I want that highlight to be a little bit in the mid-arm area. So I went around and then I came up from the fingers, leaving that little bit right there for my blending. And I think I'm going to do similar on this side, the edge, and then this way. And there we go. And then I'm going to fill in this part down here because this is all in shadow and I don't really need to highlight his belly. I wouldn't want anyone to highlight my belly, so you know. All's fair, fair, fair. I'm going to leave a little bit there, almost like a knee area kind of for a highlight. And I'm going to leave a bit on his foot as well. And then on this one, I'm going to leave more like the toes area since this is all under the basketball. Just a little bit on his toes that will blend together. There we go. And then we have his little tail. So I'm going to do around the outside. I'm definitely going to come all the way around the outside there. And then I'm going to extend from here. Smooth that up a little bit. And then I'm also going to come in from the back of his tail. I'm a little bit okay with that line showing just a little bit on the underside because it'll show a little more shadow when we get done. So I'm going to leave that part alone. I'm not going to keep blending that. Now, the last color I have is E33. And if I haven't mentioned, I love this release because the images are fairly easy to color. So for those that are practicing or just learning, these are great images for that. Look how cute his little ears look. I'm going to soften this part over here up a little bit. and this side. And I think I'm going to come back in with, well, maybe not. Maybe I'll come in with the colorless blender instead of, I was thinking about, I guess I should finish my thoughts so you guys know what I was thinking about. But I was thinking about putting more pink in there. But I don't think we need any more pink. So I think I'm going to use the colorless blender to kind of lighten it up just a little bit. And I think that'll do the trick. So now we're just blending and filling in the rest of the area with this last color. So on his neck, and then we're going to come up and down his arm. Just really lightly. This is with like a pressure of 1, like a super light pressure. Because you're not trying to get a ton of ink on the paper. You're just trying to get that to blend together. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Just back and forth. If I was pressing heavier, it would fill in that color faster. But then it would kind of wash out some of the others. So that's why I tend to do it a little bit slower. So there is that little knee area. Shows lighter than the rest. This looks a little splotchy, so I'm going to go over it one more time. Just make sure I get that smoothed out. And it kind of looks like skin, huh? Furry skin. It's coming out really nicely. This is a great combination for the Kangaroo. These E30s. Really good color. Really lightly over the bottom of that foot. Filling in the rest of that. And that finishes his little body. Now, with the colorless blender, which I love. Did I miss something? I did it. Oh, it just doesn't look like it on camera.
Oh, okay.
I'll do it a little darker since it is more in shadow. Maybe you can see it a little better now. Okay, so I'm going to take the colorless blender, and I'm only going to do it over the area that I had done pink, just to lighten it a little bit. That way it just kind of stands out a little bit more. Alright, so now that we have this cute little kangaroo, and you can make him any color you want. I just made him brown. But you could use any, I think I've colored him 3 or 4 times now, and I've changed the color every single time. So, I think though this one might be my favorite. Hang on one second, I'm just putting my hair back. Got out of the shower a little while ago, and my hair is wet, so I didn't want to put it up, but it's in my face and I'm trying to color, so I had to put it up. Okay, so I have orange for the basketball. Now orange, depending on how dark you want the basketball to be, I try to add a little bit of this YR color because it helps with shadow. You won't really see it. It'll all be covered up, but it'll be used for shadow. So we're going to start with the YR24. And we're going to put the shadow wherever it would be. Now you guys know, because you've been watching me for a while, of course we're going to put it some at the bottom and then definitely under his hand. So this is just building almost like an underpaint of color to make that area darker once we start coloring. So it's kind of an underpaint. You're not really going to see that color when we get done, and I know it's hard to see, but there you go. Maybe you can see it a little better like that. Because I have this light shining so bright over here. Okay, then I'm going to go to the strong YR18, which is where I'm going to go completely over this color and extend a little bit further. And I'm going all the way around the basketball with this color because it's round and I want to show that it's round and that it has shadows. So I'm going all the way around. Now I think I'm going to build in just a little bit of dark around here and around here, just to give it a little bit more definition as we go through. So, are you guys excited about tomorrow being Friday? Friday. I know I am. It felt like this has been a long week for me. YR16 is next. So I'm just going to extend the orange from where I put it before. Leaving a little bit for the last color. We don't need a whole lot, but I want to have some of that last color in here. There we go. And then the last one I chose was YR15. And I'm just going to do that back and forth again, just blending out that last little bit of color with a really light touch, almost like a 1. Like barely touching the paper. And then we have our basketball all done. But you can see the better definition around here because we put that dark color in there a little bit thicker, which always works out really nicely. Okay, the next colors are blue and gold. So part of the outfit is going to be gold and the other part's going to be blue. And I really thought that I was going to go with what I typically do, which is the darker color on the biggest part. But I think I'm going to do that opposite today. So I'm going to start with the gold, and I'm going to make that the color of the shirt area right here. I'm trying to decide if I want to stripe it up or not. Let's see, we're doing really good on time, so maybe I'll stripe it up. So I'm going to start with the gold color, and I'm going to do every other stripe. So I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to go to this one, then this one, this one, this one, and then this one. And then I'm going to come from the bottom as well. I mean, I know basketball shirts usually aren't striped, but what fun is this? We gotta have fun. That's so crazy how you can make the ball look round just by using color. Yes, and that is the whole thing, making it look more 3D than flat. And that's the tricks you have to learn as you go along so you can make your stuff look so good. Okay, I'm going to go over and extend on with Y26. This is the one that truly looks a bit more gold. The other one is more like the shadow underneath that gives you the dark and the medium color. I almost always use that Y28 as an underpaint type color, a color that you put under when you're coloring to build shadow. Which you can do that with grays and stuff as well, if you want to. It's just a matter of playing with your colors. And then I chose Y32 to finish off these stripes. So I'm just going to do that really nice, smooth up and down once or twice. And just blend those colors together. There we go. All right, Now, I have 3 blue colors that I chose for this for tonight. And I chose B26, 24, and 23. And what I think we need to do is B26 on the hat, on the, why can't I remember what that's called? On the thing around his head. I'm going to use it for shadow, and then I'm going to do the pieces around his outfit all in the darkest color. A bandana, sweatband, I don't know what you call it, but anyway. I'm going to start with doing the back of this headband, and then I'm just going to make one little line from the front. And then I'm going to do the majority of this part. I'm going to leave just a teeny bit for the second color, but most of it's going to be this dark, dark color, because I want it to look a little bit different than the stripes on the shirt. So that's why I'm filling most of it in with this colors. I want to keep this darker, and I don't really want to add any more colors to the mix. So I'm not even going to do the stripes with any of this color. I'm just going to use the 2 last colors. Sweatband. Yep. And it looks so cute on his head. I just love it. B24. This one I'm going to do kind of around the outside, if you will. And then just extending a little bit, softening up those, and leaving a light area right there for the last color. So for this area right here, I'm just going to extend right towards the end of the first color, because I don't really want to lighten that up too much. So just a little bit here and a little bit there. So you can already tell how the edges around the shirt look different than the sweatband. So there we go. Now, since this is the other color, we are going to do our shadow with this one. So we're just going to go down about a third of the way, maybe. Then we're going to flip him over, and we're going to do up just a little bit from the bottom, leaving a small area for the last color to blend. And then I'm going to take this color while I have it open, and I'm just going to put a very thin line around the outside of his eyes so I can have some color in those eyes. If you struggle with leaving that little bit of white on the edge, you can just color it in with the blue. It would be fine. Hi, Drea. Thank you for popping in. Here is B23, which is what we're going to blend this out. So again, the back and forth, I used a little bit more pressure, maybe a 1.5 on that. And I'm going to on here too, because I just want a little bit more ink to come out of my marker and onto my paper, so I don't have to go over this too many times. I want it to just blend together. Now, I think you guys are going to like this card I'm going to make tonight. It's not just a standard A2. It is an A2, but it's not just the regular one like I usually make. So I'm kind of excited. I know you've probably seen it before being in the crafty world, but we are going to do something slightly different tonight. So I'm going to grab my multi-liner, and I'm going to darken up this pupil of his eye, because I want it to really be a focal point. And if you make it darker, it'll stand out more. So you can kind of tell the difference a little bit. Not as well as you can on some of them, because I think I printed this one out on my printer, but I couldn't remember for sure if it was printed or stamped. So I wanted to go over the eye just in case. And if you're doing this and you go over those little white dots, don't worry about it. You can fix it with your gel pen. I never really stress about that too much because I figure I'll just fix it. When I get my gel pen out, I leave a little white on his nose because it's cute. And I'm going to pull the white gel pen out so I don't forget to use it. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to let him rest for a few minutes, and we are going to start making the card. So if you'll hold tight, there's going to be a slight earthquake because I need to move the camera up. There it is. Told you it was going to be an earthquake. I had to move the camera up a little bit, the arm of the camera up, so that you can see what I'm doing. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, this is the MVP stamp set that we just colored. And then we are going to use the new sports season paper pad. And I already prepared I already cut the papers and got them ready. But I'm going to explain how I did it so you'll have it if you want it. Pretend this is a regular A2 card base. I folded it in half and made it a card, and yay. And then what I did was I opened it up and I cut 1 inch off of this end, and then I cut it 1 inch from the center. So this folds over, and we have like just a little lip right here, and then we have this extra piece that we are eventually going to build at the bottom of our card. So we took 2 1/4 inches out of the center of this so we can build this scene that I want to build. So I cut the same piece of paper. It's the one that I showed you earlier with the basketball texture on it. I cut it for the inside of the card, so I cut it at 5 1/4 by 4. And then I cut 2 1-inch strips as well, and I'll show you what we're going to use those for later. And then for this piece right here, this one that's going to go on top, I cut the bottom of this. So this is the same piece of paper. Nope, it's not. I lied. Sorry. This is a separate piece of paper. It's the same one that I cut the top piece out of. I thought about putting this on the bottom, but then I had an epiphany and I decided I wanted to see the scene. So I cut the bottom of the basketball court off of the page. And then I'm going to glue that on, because that is where my kangaroo is going to be standing, and I want him on the basketball court. So I literally cut the pieces out of the paper that I wanted to use. So first I cut off this piece. And it's just 1/4 inch smaller all the way around, so it's 3/4. This is 5 1/2, so it's 5 1/4 by 3/4 inch. Okay, and then this piece right here, the top part of this paper, so this paper had a whole piece like this, and what I did was I cut it right along the base of the basket, and then I fussy cut around here and around the basket and fussy cut this section out. It's a little bit bigger than the 1 inch up here, but I wanted it to hang over like it's a basketball court, if that makes sense. So that was my plan. And then I thought, oh, well, now I've done this and I have this opening in the center. You can do this one of two ways. You can either glue the kangaroo from one end to the other to hold it together. But I thought since I had cut so much and it was only going to be his ears holding it up, I thought it would be perfect to use a piece of acetate. So I know you can't see this, but it is a piece of acetate. I cut it at 5 1/4 by 4. So it's just slightly smaller. It's the same, almost the same size as the one that's on the inside. And I thought what I would do is I would glue it to this piece and this piece. So it still looks like it's open and you can't see anything. But there's a piece of acetate there that's going to keep the card stable. I'm not going to glue this piece to the inside of the card because I don't want it on the inside of the card. I just want it as my holder for the 2 front pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and put my magnets here. Hold that down. And then I'm going to glue this part to my acetate. And this is where the soda press comes in handy. If you don't have one, you might want to get one. This is my favorite tool. But it will allow me to really spread that glue out so I don't have any bubbles in there. And it will help me press that together nicely so I get a really good hold on that, especially since it's acetate. Acetate isn't as easy to put glue on. And I could have done double-sided sticky tape, but it's not as forgiving, so I prefer to just use the glue. Now, I'm going to glue this piece to the bottom, but I have to note that there is a gap right here. So the acetate stops here, and the card stops here. So when I do this one, I want to stop putting glue on it before I get to the edge. So what I'm going to do is start at the top, and then I'm going to stop about right there. It should be pretty close. And then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to line it up to the base of the card, like this. Make sure it's all lined up where I want it, and then I'm going to use this tool again to really get it held. You could glue between the front and its layers so it would be invisible. Oh, I'm going to cover it up, don't worry. But yes, I could have put it underneath this and underneath this instead of putting it behind, but I have an idea for the inside, so it didn't really matter. But yes, that is a good point. That is a good point, Ellen. Very good point. But I'm going to be using the inside. I'm going to be using something on the inside, so I didn't figure it mattered much. But yes, you're right. And I would probably do that if I were going to put like Christmas ornaments or something like that on there. But now we have a card that opens like this, and we have a see-through front. And yes, this is what Ellen was talking about. You can see on the back, like where I glued this, not very well because this Barely Art glue dries really well and you can't really see much of it, but you can if you tilt it. See how you can see it just a little bit? But that is the reason that I cut these 2 strips. I wanted to keep the basketball theme on the inside of the card as well. So I cut 2 strips to go over that. It'll also make it a little more sturdy, but that's a personal preference. You could do it the other way as well if you wanted to. Hey Patty, hey Shelly. Hello, hello. So we're placing this on there. I got a little bit of glue on here, so I'm going to wipe that off so it doesn't mess up my acetate. And then I'm going to use my favorite tool again. If you don't have one of these, I'm telling you, you're missing out. You might have one of a different style, or someone else may have made you one, or maybe you have a homemade one. And that's great. That's the point. You don't have to have this particular one, but if you don't have one, it's a great way get one. I'm going to trim this just a little bit because it's slightly longer and I don't want to be able to see it from the front. So I'm going to trim just a sliver off of here. And then we'll test it again and see if it works. I want it to be straight though, for sure. There we go. I think that'll do it, but if not, we'll cut another little sliver. But it's going to be above the fold, and then when you close it, you don't want to be able to see it. And you can't really, but there is a teeny tiny bit that you can still see. So I'm going to do another little sliver off of the edge of this just to make sure I get that done. So I'm just going to trim that one more time. Really small, thin line. I only trimmed about this much, so it is really thin line. And then we'll test it one more time. Oh, we're good. I don't have to test it again. I can tell I'm good now. And then I'm going to attach this one to the inside. So I'm going to match it with the top line of this because that's really what I want to hide. And I'm okay with seeing it underneath because it matches the card, but I want it to line up right here. Okay, now this is what we have so far. We have an opening in our card and the inside front top cover done. Now I wanted to put this on the inside as well. So I'm gonna, I hate losing the back of the paper. I love having the option, but sometimes I hate giving up the back of my paper. Okay, I'm gonna put this one in here. And then I know that when I built this that I did this little piece as 1 inch. So that is what I'm going to need for my sentiment. I want to put a 1 inch white along the bottom so you can't see it from the front. And that's where I'm going to put my sentiment. You love those you love that trimmer for those tiny cuts? Me too. Okay, this is the piece of paper I told you that I cut right at the level of the basket, and then I trimmed some of this off because I wanted the basket to really stand out, and this is what's going to go on the front of my card. So far you can see that we're building a basketball court. I really like it. So when we put it on here, I'm just going to put my glue straight across here. I'm not going to go down, because I don't want to necessarily glue that part to the front of the, I don't want to glue this to the acetate, I just want to glue to here. So I'm going to center that. Let's turn it over, make sure. So it lines up with the edges of this paper and this paper, so it fits perfectly on there for the scene. And then I'm going to use this tool again. The fact that I didn't attach it to the acetate is what makes you not really know the acetate's there unless you actually, you know, really are looking for it. I'm going to press this underneath here so you won't be able to see that. I didn't really want to have any glue there, but I ended up with it. But it's okay, it'll dry, and when it dries you won't be able to see it. But you can kind of see the Go Team from this side, which is kind of cool. And then I'm going to take my little guy and I'm going to put him on my card right here. So I only need to glue his feet and his ears. And his feet. And then he will stick onto my card. And I know he'll stay because of the acetate, but it won't show a whole lot of glue on the back when you open it up. See, you just can see my little guy. Of course, you can see my coloring on the back. I wasn't anticipating that, but it's fine. It's all good. I love it so far. So I wanted to build that scene because I just think it's cool. But if you don't like it, then you could put a sheet behind there, whatever you want to do. I'm going to grab a piece of paper to do the bottom. So it's already, I already have this paper cut just about the size of the bottom there. I'm going to trim it just a tad. Make sure it's actually 1 inch. And I want it slightly smaller than 1 inch. Maybe I'll go 1/8 of an inch smaller than 1 inch. Just so it's a little bit smaller. And then this is 5 1/4. I want it to be maybe 5 1/8. I want it to be hidden, so just slimming it up. I'm going to put some stamps along there and leave myself space to say best wishes kind of thing on there. When I cover it up, you won't be able to see it. So that was my intent. So now I'm going to stamp this, and I have all of these things. So I might do maybe a slam dunk birthday. I don't know. Let me see if I can make it fit on here. I should use my Misty, so I only have to stamp it once. Ugh. A little afraid to go over there and grab my Misty because there was a wasp in my room the other day. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to put this in here. I think I'm going to put it right in the middle, maybe I'm going to use that grid under there. So if it moves by some crazy reason, again, really good for this tool. Then I want to say, wishing you and I think I'm going to slant them a little bit, which is why I decided to use the Misty. Let's see if it fits. A slam dunk. I don't think it's going to fit. And then I have birthday. Wishing you a slam dunk. Will that fit like that? Yes. There we go. And then birthday. And we can kind of look and center and move around until we get it exactly where we want it. And hopefully it'll stamp nicely and we'll be super happy. But I think it'll be cool to see it at an angle. There we go. And I think that one's good. So I'm going to pick them up. And then we'll stamp them just like that. You like it, Shelly? Yay! Hey, Mom. I'm going to use, I think, let's see, what color do we want to use? I think I have a blue. So I think I'm going to use my blue VersaFine. So it's not always black. Because I almost always do my sentiments in black. Oh, I have a lighter blue. This one could be pretty. Maybe I'll use that one, because it might match the outfit a little more than the other blue. So we'll stamp it. If I don't like it, we'll stamp it in a different color. You know, we always get to do whatever we want. Okay. Then I'm going to put this on here, and here's the other use for this tool is all you have to do is rub this for even pressure. You don't even have to press hard on it. All you're doing is just getting even pressure across the top of your stamps, and then you lift it up, and voila! So pretty! It worked perfectly. I love it. I'm so happy. So I'm going to pick it up out of here, which I can't usually do with my fingernails. So hence the tweezers close by. Just put this paper in here for now. I'll clean that up afterwards. I really like that. I'm trying to decide if I want to... We have orange around it. I don't know if I want to add anything to that. Oh, I really like that. It almost makes it look like a banner sign, you know, like something that would be rotating. Happy birthday, you know. All right, so I'm going to put it close to the bottom. Oh, my hands are shaking. I do not know why. Could be that I didn't eat very much today. I just wasn't feeling food today. I don't know why. All right, let's flip it over, and I'm going to rub it from the back so I don't mess up any of the stuff on the front. Okay, so now we have Slam Dunk Birthday. Yay! All right, I think I'm going to use my white gel pen for the front, and then I think I'm going to use, let's use silver. No, because it doesn't dry fast enough. Let's not do that. Hello, Danielle. I think I'm going to write on this, but I think I'm going to do it. Well, yeah, it's not glossy. It should dry, right? It should dry. I don't know. I'm nervous about it. So I think I'll use a black one. See an actual artist create with the stamp, seeing your vision in action. Thank you. I'm going to go in here, and what I'm going to do is just put a little line over it and under it, just in a little bit different space, just for a little bit of change. You know, anybody can stamp it in there, but why not give it a little bit of personality? I feel like that just brings it out a little bit more. And then I'm going to flip this over. And now we have this whole card right here. What I love about the MVP stamp is, and I cut it out already, is you can sometimes, if I hadn't cut the paper off, I could fit MVP in here, but I cut the paper off. I think I'm still going to use it though. I think I'm going to use it down here in this corner to kind of finish up the look, because I felt like it needed just a little bit something, and I don't want to put any jewels or gems or anything like that on there. So I'm just going to put this MVP that I had already stamped out into the little corner. And then I'm going to use my white gel pen to finish it off, and then we will have our card finished. So I'm going to put the white gel pen on his eye, and I'm going to do that little extra dot in his eye just so you can see it a little better. I'm going to kind of touch over his nose. I think I'll put a little bit on this basketball so it kind of looks like he's moving around. I'll put a little bit in his ears, maybe a tad on here. There we go. Now here is what we have. So this is a see-through card. I think it's so cool. I haven't done this in so long. And then you open it up and the back is covered with more of that. And then this is the scene for your kangaroo. And now that I'm thinking about it, I almost think that I might color another one of these just like that and place him under here. So when you lift it up, you still get to see the kangaroo. I didn't think about that till just now, but I may do that to add a little more to it. But I hope that you like that. I hope you'll try and do that. You don't have to do 2 1/4. You could do just a 2-inch strip in the center, or you could do 2 really small strips. I mean, there is so much flexibility with doing this. And then you don't necessarily need the acetate if you make it much smaller, because the image will hold it still. But I hope that you'll try it. It was fun. I thought we'd just give a try, give something else a try for a change. And then I will be back again on Tuesday of next week at 8 Central and Thursday next week at 8 Central. These stamp sets that we have, they're still on the bundle deal. It's a great deal. If you want to get it, you get the stamps, the paper, the stencil, the stickers, the ephemera, get everything. So if you're looking for sports, and I know you will be towards, it's almost school time, then check them out and see if you like them. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We're trying to grow that channel. We'll have more on that channel coming soon. And if you want to join me, I'm going over to Happy Crafty Ho Ho now, or as soon as they go live, for a little bit of fun over there. So feel free to jump on over there and craft with us over there as well. Thank you for joining me. Have a great evening. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week or over at Crafty Ho Ho. Good night.